All right, well, Matt, next up we're going to go back to the Ohio State film.
Yep.
Because we're going to talk about another tackle from Ohio State on the right side in Dawand Jones. Another one who seems to be a stereotypical tackle, but one who had more experience on the right side. 790 snaps in 2021. Went down a little bit, 763 snaps at right tackle, still at right tackle in 2022. But it seemed like in 2022 he finally found who he was as a pass blocker, as an offensive line. Dave Bugle said it best on the offensive line show for The Athletic, that it seemed like he wanted to be a basketball player playing football, and in 2022 he finally found it within himself that he's a football player and played like it. Yeah. So a lot better film than I saw as well in 2022 this year, but ultra rare size. I mean, an almost 90-inch wingspan on this guy, a mountain of a human being. That is the real upside with Dawand Jones, is his size. He's a huge dude.
Man, 6'8", 374.
Incredible.
I mean, ultra rare size. He's very athletic, big wingspan. I mean, he did have some issues with penalties. I saw that a lot, and I think that's something that you can kind of teach at the next level. That's something where you can kind of teach him a little more discipline and figure that out. But overall, I mean, he's a mountain of a human being. I mean, that's the biggest thing, and that's what you're drafting him for. You're drafting him for his massive size, and I mean, he's a great player.
Yeah, he's an absolute mauler in the run game as well.
Oh yeah,
and powerful, massive blocker, uses his length very effectively. I mean, not only is it an upside that he has it, but also that he has it at uses it at such a high level with, again, the almost 90-inch wingspan. But with the size comes some concerns, being a little too top heavy. Maybe could drop a little bit of that weight to have a more balanced frame and strengthen his balance a little more. But again, doesn't have the upside to offer as a multi-positional guy compared to these other ones. But a team who wants a right tackle and wants a guy who is going to be very stout and very effective as a pass blocker, as a run blocker, who did a great job this year redefining his technique.
I think the big thing with Dawand Jones is his size, and for both positives and negatives.
Yeah.
Functional movement. That's the big thing when it comes to giant human beings. And we saw that with Mekhi Becton when he was drafted by the Jets. He's cut 50 pounds this offseason, I believe. I think it was 50, if I remember correctly. We're going to see if it helps. I mean, he's had a lot of injury issues. He struggled a little bit at the beginning part of his career. Now that he's cut the weight, and he's become more of a compact, he's still got the big size and he's got the strength, but he's a little more compact. That might help him a little more, not only be more effective on the field, but stay on the field.
Yeah.
And one thing that I've noticed is Dawand Jones, he's been able to do that. He's been able to stay on the field. He's been able to move. Question is, how long can he do that for? So I think it's going to be a question a lot of NFL teams ask is, at this massive size, as big of a plus as it is to have on the offensive line, how long can he do it? Can he keep it up? And will he be able to just move at the NFL pace that you need to be on the offensive line?
Yeah.
And I think that's going to be the biggest question.
Yep, very good points. So we'll pull out the film now against, again, this Georgia defense we'll start with, and then move on from there. The other thing I think comes with the size as well. I think he leaves his feet behind quite often, which again doesn't really bode well with him for the balance. But that just comes with the size. So also not being able to be reactive and has athleticism to keep pace if he's getting out in space, or if he has a speed rusher, barreling hard off his side, off the edge and on his side. His feet kind of lag behind trying to get to that guy. But when he's on a guy, he can straight blow past him, and he has the size advantage to hold up over pretty much any player on a defensive line if he comes in contact with him.
Yeah, I think one of the big things that he needs to work on is creating leverage, and I think that's one of the things where he's not able to get his hands up and push up on these defenders, and I think that's going to be something that one of the first things they're going to work on when he gets into training camp this year is creating that leverage, because if you can do that, that's going to help a lot with a lot of those quick guys. If you can get that leverage early on, it's going to be a lot more difficult for them to speed past you, and it's going to help him a lot and make him a much more valuable player. But other than that, I think if he can keep his movement, if he can be that kind of guy, he'll be fine, and he'll be a top guy in the NFL. Yeah. I mean, he'll be a very, very valuable right tackle in the NFL if he can stay healthy, stay on the field, limit the penalties, and just be able to consistently move at that level.